Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a super exciting new release from Nabla Cosmetics. These are the Nabla Skin Glazing Glass Skin Finish Glow Powders that just released last Wednesday. I can't really remember being this excited for the release of like highlighter blush types of products in a very long time. I think companies really slowed down with the release of especially highlighters lately, so I didn't really expect to see many more coming on the market, but for some reason when these came out I got really excited about them. And the reason I got so excited is because they were sort of alluding to that type of formula which is a hybrid between a cream and a powder, and it's a bit like this like gel-like formula which looks beautiful on the skin. And I was right, these are exactly this type of formula. If you have Pat McGrath Mothership palettes, these feel like, you know, that corner, the 4 special shades, some of these feel exactly like those. And if you have the MAC Extra Dimension highlighters, that feels very similar as well in terms of like texture and formula. Now let me start off with the thing that really shocked me, okay? These were released last Wednesday. I ordered them on Wednesday, and about an hour after I ordered them, I received a shipping notification, like they were shipped out on the same day. I don't fucking know how Nabla does this. Do they have like warehouses all over Europe? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I received a shipping notification and these were delivered to my doorstep the day after. Now, ironically, I was in Italy at the time, so I couldn't really enjoy them before today because I just got back yesterday and I just dug into them today. Now, the first thing is that they arrived very nicely packaged in this beautiful thing, which is like a bubble wrap and serves also as a little baggie, which I think I'm going to save and probably reuse for travel or something because it's really convenient. And then I already threw out the outer packaging. I'm really sorry, I didn't really feel like it was something that I wanted to share with you. But the general things about these, they are supposedly, like I said, one of those hybrid cream powder gel formulas. They're supposedly very high in pearls and reflectiveness, and they look very natural on the skin. They don't emphasize texture, that kind of thing. They're quite expensive. On the launch day they were actually 20% off, so I did purchase these for the price of, I want to say something around 17 euros a piece, and now they're back to the regular price, which is 22 euros. I think they're also a limited edition. I think they're like the holiday release, so I'm not sure for how long these are going to be around. It could be that I'm also lying and they're permanent. Based on a very quick search on Instagram, I cannot really tell whether these are limited edition or not. The packaging on these is actually quite beautiful. At first when I saw that they have like this cheapish type of plastic packaging, I was a little bit disappointed, but I have to say it doesn't feel like cheap plastic, and it's actually very well done in terms of like the details. It has this gorgeous like light pinky red sort of color to it. It's transparent, and then you have the logo right here of Nabla where you open the product, and then when you open the product, the powder itself has the most beautiful print on it, which reminds me a little bit of that ABH highlighter with, what's her name? Amrizi? I think it reminds me a little bit of that one. And then it has the logo of Nabla also imprinted on it, and the powder itself is submerged into a pan which is surrounded by this beautiful rose gold detail. I feel like for plastic packaging this is actually pretty well done, which better be the case because these are 22 euros a piece. From what I gather, these are also supposed to be very multi-functional type of product, so you can use them everywhere on your face, also on your eyes, so blush, highlighter, eyeshadow, inner corner highlight, whatever. The range of these includes 6 shades ranging from like a very neutral beige to a very deep reddish sort of color, and you covered pretty much a good spectrum for the different skin tones, because I think you can use these as highlighters if you have a deeper skin tone, but some of these you can also use as blush or blush topper if you have a lighter or medium skin tone. So I do feel like they've covered quite a few bases there. Now without further ado, I'm just going to leave you with the demo. Keeping my fingers crossed that the lighting is good and you're going to be able to see how the colors perform on my skin, because I find it exceptionally difficult to arrange my lighting in such a way that especially highlighters show up truly to their color. But we're going to give it our best shot, okay? And I am going to come up close and personal so that you can see how these look on the skin, like with texture and all, and if they show texture at all. But let's cut down the rambling and proceed to applying some blushes and highlighters. Now, the first shade I'm going to go into is the Skin Glazing powder in the shade Truth. Now, Truth is definitely too deep for me to use as a highlighter shade. It is a gorgeous, like, peachy pink with gold shift to it, or at least that's what I make out of it when I look at it in the pan. I did clearly not pick this up with the intention of using it as a highlighter because I feel like it is clearly too deep for my skin tone, but I do think it might look beautiful as like a glowing peachy blush or a blush topper should it be too light for my skin, but I doubt that. I'm just going to grab my fluffy blush brush right here and I'm going to go into the powder. There's, by the way, absolutely no kick up when I pick it up, which works a little bit along with the intention of this being a little bit like those gel-like formulas that are something in between a powder and a cream, like a bit of a hybrid sort of texture that I really love. So let's apply this, shall we? Oh, beautiful. Oh, this is showing up really beautifully on my skin and it looks exactly as I expected it. It's like a corally peach pink sort of color. It's definitely warm, not cool toned pink, and it is beautiful. And I can't really see much of like that gold shift, it just looks very glowy on my skin. Oh, this looks really gorgeous and it is exactly what I was hoping it to be. It is beautiful. I'm definitely going to get so much use out of this. So I picked up two of the highlighter shades, or at least what I would consider to be highlighter shades on my skin tone. And those are the shades Ozone and Privilege. Now let's start with Ozone, which is sort of like a very neutral beige color, which seemed a little bit like it has pink reflex to it, but I'm actually quite curious to apply this. So this shade, by the way, is also what you see in my inner corner, and I applied a little bit also here underneath my brow bone. I'm going to get up close and personal later to show you, but this looks really beautiful and really brightening in the inner corner. It applied very wet without me even wetting the brush, and it just, I really like how these powders are applying. So now I'm going to grab my favorite highlighter brush, which is this fan brush by M-Brush by Maxineshka, and let's proceed to applying, shall we? So they say that you can use this either wet or dry, but from what I can tell, you don't need to wet your brush tubes. This already looks really wet, and I feel like if I set my face with my fixing spray, I'm definitely going to get an even more wet effect from this powder. It looks gorgeous, okay? It looks stunning. So, like I thought, this shade looks a bit like a beige with slight pink undertones to it. It's not a flat beige. It's definitely not a flat beige, or at least not that I can tell. Can you see how beautifully this is catching the light? Oh my goodness, I love it. This looks especially beautiful on someone with my skin tone, I feel like, because if I turn like this, you can't really see it, but then if I turn to the light, it immediately hits my cheekbones really gorgeously. I can tell you, I have absolutely no regrets. I'm going to love these. Now, the shade that I'm the most excited about is the shade Privilege, because Privilege is my favorite tone of highlighter. It is sort of like a peachy pink shade. I picked this shade up in the hopes that it's going to be a dupe for Eclipse or Lyra from the Aurora Glow Kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills, because these are my two favorite shades of highlighter ever. I don't think there's a highlighter in my collection that I love more than Eclipse and Lyra, and I'm currently panning them with the idea that when I finish them up in the Glow Kit, I'm just going to repurchase the Glow Kit. Which essentially is really stupid, because you get 6 shades in the Glow Kit and it's only these two that I'm using. But because they don't offer them as singles, and I don't think they're ever going to do that, I was prepared to just bite the bullet and just purchase the whole Glow Kit all over again. During Black Friday sale, of course, not full price. But this shade looks very much like Eclipse from the Glow Kit. So let's put it on and see whether she's going to be my new love. So let me pick up on the other side of my brush here. Turn a little bit towards you, and then let's apply this shade. This is a really stunning shade as well. I don't know if I would call it necessarily a dupe for Eclipse. I'm gonna have to swatch them side by side. I do still feel like Eclipse has slightly different tones to it, but that being said, this is exactly what a peachy pink highlighter should be. It has peachy pink tones to it, so it looks almost a little bit coppery on the skin. I love these types of highlighters. So on this side I have the shade Ozone, and on this side I have the shade Privilege. And I can tell you, Ozone is definitely much more lifting and highlighting on my skin. I think Privilege is beautiful, and it kind of like, almost like the base tone of this highlighter merges with my skin tone, and you just see the slight peachy pink reflect when I turn my face. So there's not so much lifting, and it's not as striking as Ozone is. I'm actually going to put a little bit of Ozone over top of Privilege to see what happens if I mix the two shades. Sorry, I'm just playing a little bit today. Okay, that definitely lifts my cheekbones a little bit better than if I apply Privilege on its own. Now let me show you how these are looking up close and personal, just so you can see. They are really beautiful, they melt on the skin really nicely, and what I can tell you is that they don't really emphasize much skin texture. I'm not going to apply Fix Plus just yet, I'm going to do that in a bit, but let me show you how these are looking. Okay, so here we have Truth and Ozone. And on this side we have Truth and Privilege with a bit of Ozone layered over top. Okay guys, wonky camera work over here, but I'm standing in a different part of my bedroom because I feel like the lighting in front of my window sometimes is really harsh. So I did even out my cheeks a little bit, so now I'm wearing a combination of Ozone and Privilege on both of my cheekbones. But this is how the powders are looking like. Just so you can see. Do you see how wet this is looking? And it doesn't emphasize texture at all. And here I also have the swatches of all the three shades. So here we have Truth, then we got Ozone, and the final one is Privilege. And here we have some comparison swatches. So here in the smack middle you have Privilege from Nabla. Then next to it we got Obsessed, which is also from Nabla. It's in their formula, like the old school that comes in the circle pans. It looks like this. You can see that these two have very similar tones to them, but this one looks much less impactful and much less wet on the skin. Now here we have Lyra and Eclipse from the Anastasia Glow Kit, and you can see that none of them really looks like Privilege. Eclipse has a very like champagne base to it with pink sparkles, and this one has orange tones with pink sparkles. So unfortunately neither of these was really a dupe for the Anastasia Glow Kit shades, but that being said, I still do not regret purchasing them because they have an absolute beautiful formula to them, and I don't really have highlighters in that particular formula, or at least I can think of one in my collection that has like this gelée type of texture. Oh, maybe my MAC mineralized skin finish formula. I have one of those limited edition blush highlighter duos from MAC from like a holiday collection a few years ago, and that one has a very similar texture to this because it feels exactly like a hybrid between a powder and a gel. Really gorgeous, and they always look really wet, really flawless on the skin. These definitely have my approval because I think they're a gorgeous formula and I think they look really stunning on the skin. But keep in mind, they are on the pricier side. I know that a couple of you actually were either considering or picked up some of the shades from this line as well. I'm very curious what you guys thought, what your favorite shade was. I know there were some more gold leaning shades. I didn't pick up any of those because for some reason I don't really like myself in gold highlighters, and I already have similar formula from MAC, like I said, which is a gold, so I didn't really feel the need to buy another gold, and I do lean more towards these types of like peachy and pinky sort of highlighters, so I do think these were great choices for me. I do not regret any of the shades that I picked up. Neither of them was something that doesn't work for me. So I think I'm going to now cut down the rambling. Let me know if you bought these and what you thought of them. Are you considering buying them? Let's just chat about the new Nabla Skin Glazing powders. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you would like to see me again in your feed, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!